I am Kevin Triplett, Vice President for University Relations here at Carson-Newman. And on behalf of our President, Dr. Charles Fowler, I welcome you to this special day. As part of Homecoming Week, today's chapel is a unique one. It is designed in line with the Carson-Newman mission that is on the back of your program to honor those who have honored this university with the way they have lived their lives and served in their careers. We are humbled by this opportunity and are glad so many of the recipients have been able to join us here today. Their service in various capacities is inspirational. We also today have many past alumni honorees and are grateful they are here as well. We welcome you all. I would be remiss at this time not to mention the absence of our president. Dr. Fowler would traditionally, during this program, be standing right here thanking the recipients for their life's work. However, First Lady Sandra Fowler's mother, Miss Bernice Martin, passed away suddenly Sunday morning. And as I invite Marty Blakely, Director of the Lakeway Area FCA and past President of the Carson-Newman Alumni Board, to come and lead us in prayer, we ask that you also keep the Fowler family wrapped in your prayers.
Let's pray together. Dear Heavenly Father, as we come together, we do lift Sandra and her family up to you in the death of her mother. Be with them as they make plans for her services. Father, we come here today to celebrate these alumni who are part of the some 25,000 living alumni of Carson-Newman University. Carson-Newman University that's had such a great impact on those of us that went here, that are current students, and we get to celebrate just a little bit of what Carson-Newman alumni are doing around the world and the impact and influence they have throughout our world. Father, I pray that your blessings on this time, and we celebrate these and their accomplishments since they have left this university. And we pray it in your blessed and holy name, Lord. Amen.
In your program, you have the description of the criteria of each award that will be given today and the criteria met by the honorees. We will start with the Triumph Awards for each department. Mary McDonald. Mary McDonald, class of 1978, is well known in the field of sacred music. With a career that spans more than 40 years, her songs appear in the catalogs of every major publisher of church music. More than 1,000 compositions through anthems and seasonal musicals and keyboard collections testify to her significant contribution to church music. No stranger to glass ceilings, her energy and charisma served her well when Mary became the first woman president of the Southern Baptist Music Conference. She recently retired from serving 36 years as accompanist for the Tennessee Men's Chorale, touring internationally to Brazil, England, Wales, and Italy. In 2010, after serving as senior music editor for the Lorenz Corporation in Dayton, Ohio, for more than 20 years, Mary resigned her position with a desire to serve the church in a different way. Now, she takes her tremendous passion and love for music making directly to the churches as an independent artist. She is in constant demand in churches across the nation for composer weekends. She has served as host for many of the top choral musical dealer conferences in the U.S. and Canada. Mary has performed twice on the grand stage at Carnegie Hall, both as pianist and conductor in 2019, and will return there later this month to conduct in the Festival of Christmas. She's been the recipient of numerous awards, among them the prestigious John Ness Beck Award, the Paul B. Clark Award for Excellence in Church Music, and the Lifetime Achievement Award in Sacred Music. If I could invite Acting Dean Mary Baldridge to the stage, please. Ladies and gentlemen, the first Triumph Award winner for Arts, Humanities, and the Social Sciences, please welcome Miss Mary McDonald. 1974 graduate David Ray Skinner drew cartoons for the campus newspaper, The Orange and Blue, including a regular comic strip called O and B. I'll let you think about that one for a minute. While serving as editor-in-chief of the paper, it won 2 Southeastern College newspaper competition awards. After a short stint as a writer, reporter, and illustrator for the Sevier County Times, David relocated to New York City in 1977, where he eventually became the art director for the music trade magazine Record World. He created custom illustrations and caricatures for such notables as Elton John, Stephen Stills, Graham Nash, Led Zeppelin, Kenny Rogers, and Billy Joel. After 5 years at Record World, Skinner went to work for Doubleday as art director of the Literary Guild magazine. There he created marketing treatments for books by writers such as James Michener, Peter Moss, and Stephen King. Moving to Atlanta in 1984, Skinner co-founded Indelible Ink., a print, design, and advertising agency, and in the early 90s also became involved in various music projects. One project included Johnny Cash's gospel video and CD, Return to the Promised Land, for which David Ray designed the logo and co-wrote the title track with Cash and his manager, Hugh Waddell. Since 2001, he has produced an online literary magazine called southernreader.com, and in 2019 released his first novel, Rubine River. He continued to do advertising, marketing, illustration, and design for a number of clients, including Home Depot, Target, Glock, Hanes Brands, and Citibank. Other projects include a 3-dimensional sculpture at the University of West Georgia, and one of my personal favorites, an ad jingle, Shoe Fly Pie, that ran for several months on the Grand Ole Opry broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, the second Triumph Award winner for Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences for 2022, Mr. David Ray Skinner. A veteran of more than 42 years in the hotel industry, 1966 graduate Roy Flora served as president and COO of Atlanta-based U.S. Franchise Systems Incorporated, as well as its various subsidiaries relative to the Microtel Inns and Suites and Hawthorne Suites hotel brands. Prior to his retirement in 2011, he served as group president for Microtel Inns and Suites, Hawthorne Suites, Baymont Inn and Suites hotel brands as part of the Wyndham Hotel Group. Under his leadership, the Microtel and Inns and Suites brand was recognized by J.D. Power and Associates as the highest overall in guest satisfaction for the economy limited service segment for an unprecedented 10 consecutive years. That is something no other company in any industry segment had achieved previously. He led the initiative to redesign and launch the new Microtel guest room concept, which in 2008 was the recipient of the Hotel World Global Hospitality and Design Award for Best Guest Room Design in their category. During this time, both Microtel and Hawthorne Suites received the American Association of Franchisees and Dealers Fair Franchising Seal. It was the first hotel brand to receive this award. He was a 3-time recipient of the AAFD's Franchiser of the Year Award, and he championed total product and attitude accessibility for persons with disabilities. He was recognized with the Eagle Award, rather appropriate, from Disability Rights Advocates. In 2008, the Disability Matters Awards, and was awarded the Access to Freedom Award for the Society of Accessible Travel and Hospitality. A proud veteran of the U.S. Army, the former Eagle quarterback and his late wife, Diana Burkhead, also a CN alum, were married 55 years. If I could ask Dr. Heather Whaley to approach the platform, please. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 Triumph Award winner for business, Mr. Roy Flora. 8 years after graduating from Carson-Newman in 1969, Diana Carroll returned home, and she never left. In fact, despite retiring in 2014 and earning professor emeritus status, Dr. Carroll still fills in, teaching classes when the need arises. She has diligently given more than 40 years of instruction back to this university. Through this service, she has impacted hundreds of graduates in the family and consumer sciences curriculum. It would actually probably take less time to discuss what Dr. Carroll has not done. Her wisdom and willingness, always in demand, in addition to her duties in the classroom, Dr. Carroll also served on faculty council at Carson-Newman for 10 years, serving as secretary and twice as chair of the Faculty Affairs Committee. She has served in the Student Success Committee, committees for faculty performance, for advancement, for students with disabilities, search committees for important hires at the university, and planning groups for events such as the university's sesquicentennial and Founders Day ceremonies. From general studies to student activities, athletics to chapel, when it was discussed, Dr. Carroll was usually asked to be at the table. In her field, she has served in roles for at least 10 national conventions for the American Association of Family and Consumer Sciences, including multiple times as a voting delegate, senator, and committee co-chair. She has received the National Kappa Omicron New Advisor Award of Excellence, twice earned the Tennessee Association of Family and Consumer Sciences Leader Award, Who's Who in Finance and Industry 3 times, and Who's Who Among American Teachers 4 times. She has been inducted into 6 different national honor societies. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 Triumph Award recipient for Family and Consumer Sciences, Dr. Diana Carroll. Accomplished educator, leader, advocate for high-quality education with a demonstrated ability to teach, motivate, and direct students and teachers. Dr. Lauren Wilson is a recipient of 2 degrees from Carson-Newman. After earning her Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education from Tennessee State University and a Master's in Special Education from Vanderbilt, Dr. Wilson received both her EDS and her Doctorate of Education from Carson-Newman. Currently an assistant principal at Jack Anderson Elementary in Hendersonville, Tennessee, Dr. Wilson's specialties include strategic planning and implementation, coaching teachers, student support, student relationships, and restorative practices. She has served children at their most creative and impressionable stages as a kindergarten teacher and worked with students with unique needs as a special education teacher and literacy coach, during which time she was named Teacher of the Year. She is currently or has served as adjunct professor at 3 institutions, including Carson-Newman. Her teaching ranges through more than a dozen specific topics of study, including Introduction to Diagnostic Reading Instruction, Child, Family, Cultural, and Community Relationships, and Advocacy, Multicultural Education, Survey of Moderate to Severe Special Education, and Learning and Behavior Disabilities. Dr. Wilson holds 22 different certificates of training and has done extensive research on professional learning communities, research in those communities, and ensuring meetings are data-driven, meaningful, and serve to benefit both the instructor and the student. If I could invite Dean Hawkins to come forward, please. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 Triumph Award winner for education, Dr. Lauren Wilson. A 1972 graduate of Carson-Newman celebrating his 50th anniversary this year, Dr. Scott K. Powers has spent his career in higher education instruction. After rising to associate professor and director of the Applied Physiology Laboratory at Louisiana State University, he accepted the position at University of Florida in Gainesville, where he spent the next 30-plus years. At various times or simultaneously, he served as director of the Center of Exercise Science, professor and chair of the University of Florida's Department of Exercise and Sports Science, was named UAA Endowed Professor and Distinguished Professor of the university's Department of Applied Physiology and Kinesiology. 3 times he served as a visiting professor at other institutions, including the Department of Cell and Molecular Biology at the University of Cal Berkeley. I can't even say that. At Florida, Dr. Powers twice received the Teacher Improvement Award, Teacher of the Year in Department of Exercise and Sports Sciences, and received the David R. Lamb Excellence in Education Award conferred by the Gatorade Sports Science Institute. He has mentored 14 postdoctoral fellows that have matriculated to faculty positions at research universities in 3 countries. He served as major professor for 20 PhD students, and Dr. Powers has received the University of Florida Doctoral Dissertation Advisor Mentoring Award, as well as being elected to the University of Florida Academy of Distinguished Teaching Scholars. His honors include Scholar of the Year, Southeastern Chapter of American College of Sports Medicine, Career Enhancement Award, American Physiological Society. He earned the American College of Sports Medicine Citation Award and Distinguished Professor from the University of Florida in the same year. Since it is his 50th anniversary, Dr. Powers will not be here until Saturday, but please join me in congratulating Dr. Powers as the 2022 Triumph Award winner for Sciences. A native of North Carolina, Alan Bloom has spent more than 50 years serving in the ministry. A 1971 Carson-Newman graduate, Bloom's service to Christ's Word started early. He filled the role as president of a youth-led evangelistic ministry that he founded and spent 6 months in an interim role as youth director at First Baptist Church in Joshua, Texas. Alan served 2 years as minister of evangelism at Harvard Avenue Baptist Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma, before answering the call as pastor of Statesville Avenue Baptist Church in Charlotte, North Carolina, where he served from 1977 until 1989. After 5 years as executive pastor at Hickory Grove Baptist Church in Charlotte, Bloom made his final stop as a full-time pastor in Boone, North Carolina, serving 16 years as senior pastor of Mount Vernon Baptist Church. After more than 35 years, Alan moved away from the pulpit, but not the ministry. He served the next 8 years as editor and president of the Biblical Recorder, a news organization owned by the Baptist State Convention of North Carolina. He has been an interim pastor for churches in transition, a contact representative for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, and he has served on more than a dozen groups and committees for the Southern Baptist and North Carolina State Conventions. That includes 3 years as president of the board of directors for his home state's convention. He currently assists that group in training transitional interim pastors for their new role. If I could ask Dean Dr. David Crutchley to step forward. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 Triumph Alumni Award winner for Biblical and Theological Studies, K. Alan Bloom. Thank you, deans, Thank you, Triumph recipients. Let's give them another round of applause, please. Lieutenant Colonel Catherine J. Slingerland received her commission in 2004 from Carson-Newman with a degree in English. She was assigned to the aviation branch and graduated from the U.S. Army's flight school course for UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters in 2005. Slingerland's first post was in an assault helicopter battalion in Korea. She served 18 months as a platoon leader before she was assigned to Joint Task Force Bravo, Soto Cano Air Base, Honduras, where she served as an assistant battalion S3, coordinating with division and brigade headquarters. Slingerland's other assignments include operations officer for Provincial Reconstruction Team in Afghanistan, Brigade HHC Commander, 110th Aviation Regiment, aide-de-camp for the U.S. Army Aviation Center of Excellence Commanding General, Battalion Operations Officer and Executive Officer, Attack Reconnaissance Battalion and Cavalry Regiment in Savannah, Georgia, and Presidential Airlift Operation Officer for the White House. That's like when they take the helicopter and go out. Her military awards and decorations include the Bronze Star, Defense Meritorious Service Medal, and Meritorious Service Medal with 2 oak leaf clusters, the Aviation Badge, the Combat Action Badge, and the Air Assault Badge. One of 4 female officers who lead the 1st Aviation Brigade at brigade and battalion levels, she has served as Brigade Operations Officer in the 166th Aviation Brigade in Fort Hood, Texas, and currently is a battalion commander at Fort Rucker, Alabama. Lieutenant Colonel Slingerland could not be here today, but please congratulate the 2022 Beacon Alumni Award winner, Lieutenant Colonel Katie Slingerland. James W. Zirkle has done many things, some of which he probably cannot discuss. From 1985 until his retirement in 2009, Professor Zirkle was the Associate General Counsel with the Office of General Counsel for the Central Intelligence Agency. When we asked for the bio, we got it, but a lot of it was redacted, so we don't know. I'm kidding. Throughout his career, he worked, among other assignments, primarily in the areas of classified space systems, counterintelligence, and security. He served as senior counsel at the National Reconnaissance Office and senior counsel to the CIA's Counterintelligence Center of Office and Security. His last CIA assignment was at the CIA's Officer in Residence at Georgetown University's School of Foreign Service. He has served as an adjunct professor of law at the Georgetown University Law Center and at American University's Washington College of Law since 1988. He teaches in the areas of national security law, intelligence law, international law, and the law of armed conflict. In 2009, Georgetown University awarded him their Vincennial Medal for Distinguished Service to University. That's Latin. I looked that up. That means every 20 years. Prior to law school, he served on active duty for 5 years as a naval officer. He then served in the Ready Reserves for nearly 22 years as a Judge Advocate General Officer, retiring from the Naval Reserve in 1992 with the rank of Commander. Before joining the CIA, he was a member of the law faculties, first at the University of Mississippi, and then the College of William and Mary, where he also managed the First Amendment Bill of Rights Institute. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 Carson-Newman Distinguished Achievement Alumni Award winner, Mr. James W. Zirkle. To qualify for the Carson-Newman Legacy Award, a family must have had at least 3 generations of their family attend Carson-Newman and be involved. The family of Marion Cook has seen members of 4 generations receive their education on the banks of Mossy Creek. But the members of this family did not just come to Carson-Newman and leave with their degrees. They got involved while they were here and stayed involved after they left. Edgar Cook, Marion's father, was a 1923 graduate in English, later received his PhD from Vanderbilt. Mother Lily graduated a year later with a degree in home economics. Edgar was his class president, served on the faculty here at Carson-Newman. To this day, the Dr. and Mrs. Edgar M. Cook Scholarship financially helps students work toward earning their degrees at Carson-Newman. Marion Cook followed, graduating in 1955. Through the years, Marion has served in multiple roles and is currently on the Alumni Board of Directors. Marion's late wife, Catherine, was a 1956 home economics graduate, and his brother, Dr. Clarence Cook, was a 1957 graduate in chemistry. Their daughter, Allison Lowry, with a degree in individual direction, and son-in-law, William Lowry, a master's of education, both earned degrees from Carson-Newman, as did daughter Melanie Goff from the Family and Consumer Sciences, also a current member of the Women of Vision organization. The legacy continued with granddaughter Lauren Bonner in psychology and grandson-in-law Mitchell Bonner in religion. While there is no word yet on the future plans of 9-year-old Kate or 3-year-old Maverick, Marion says recruiting has begun. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Carson-Newman, please welcome the 2022 Legacy Award winner, Marion Cook and the Cook family. It began as a concept, a vision, if you'll pardon the pun. What began with a brief conversation between longtime Carson-Newman team member Vicki Butler and former University First Lady Kay O'Brien has become one of the most impactful organizations that serves this university. Carson-Newman University's Women of Vision was organized in 2010 for the purpose of providing support for and working in partnership with Carson-Newman through volunteer and philanthropic efforts. Women of Vision seeks to glorify God and further His kingdom by nurturing truth, enhancing beauty, and enriching goodness, the Carson-Newman staples reflected on the university seal. As a means of carrying out this purpose, each year Women of Vision accepts and considers proposals for campus projects that fall within these categories. Projects may be proposed by faculty, staff, students, or interested alumni and CN supporters. And I was told this morning by the Women of Vision they are accepting proposals right now. Criteria for the project Women of Vision choose must take on these criteria: nurture academic excellence or Christian commitment for Carson-Newman. That's the truth. Enhance the physical beauty of the campus, beauty. Or enrich the quality of student life through physical improvements, program enhancements, or opportunity for student involvement in service, goodness. True to the roots of its mission, in its 12 years of existence, Women of Vision has raised more than $1.5 million for projects on this campus that fit these criteria and continue to look to the future with a vision. Ladies and gentlemen, the aptly named 2022 Vision Award winner goes to the Women of Vision. There's a whole group of them right here. Alum Christy Pekowski is the current president, so she accepted on their behalf, but they are in full force this morning. Servant leadership. Receiving degrees from North Greenville, William Carey, and the University of Mississippi Law School of Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, this year's recipient of the Servant Leadership Award has spent his life serving others. A 34-year veteran of the U.S. Air Force and U.S. Army Medical Corps with 3 combat deployments, his final deployment being to Afghanistan in 2011-2012, this year's recipient retired in 2013. He served as president of the Mississippi Orthopedic Society, president of the Southern Orthopedic Association, president of the Baptist Medical Dental Fellowship, and as a member of the Board of Counselors, American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, chair of the board 2014 and 15, and the board of directors for the Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons 2012 through 2015. He's currently the chair of the board of directors for Tenova Jefferson Memorial Hospital, the advisory board for Jefferson County Health Department, a member of the Tennessee Board of Medical Examiners, and a member of the Tennessee Controlled Substance Monitoring Database Committee. In his community, he was elected as county commissioner here in Jefferson County in 2014, serving 4 years. During that time, he served as chair of the Finance Committee and vice chair of both the Budget and the Compliance Committee. In 2015, he decided to retire from medical practice and began attending graduate school here at Carson-Newman, pursuing a degree in theology. After 2 seminars, however, he was asked to return to medicine as the chief medical officer of Ortho Tennessee, the largest musculoskeletal, I tried that 3 times and still got it wrong, group in the state. He retired again in 2020, and commitment to Carson-Newman athletics would be impossible to measure. Read in your program the definition of servant leadership, and it is this year's recipient, Dr. John McGraw. Last one. Established by the Carson-Newman Alumni Association, this last award does not necessarily go to an alum, but a current faculty or staff member whose commitment and service personified the spirit of Carson-Newman University. The recipient must exemplify the highest ideals of service and leadership on campus and considered to be the pinnacle of excellence and performance in their role at Carson-Newman. This year's recipient reflects all of these traits and more. Like many others who find themselves serving Carson-Newman and its mission, the recipient did not necessarily start here at Carson-Newman, but learned of this area of Mossy Creek while working with a partner on a project at the university. And, like so many others, he came to know how special this place is. It was work on that project that caught the eye of the administration at Carson-Newman, and a position here was offered. It made sense. The youngest of 8 children growing up just a few miles down the road, graduating from Carter High School, this year's recipient had followed his father, several uncles, and cousins into the carpentry trade before becoming superintendent for Johnson & Gallion Construction. That was where the paths crossed. One of his projects was construction of the App Commons on this campus. Today, every project on this campus has his fingerprints. After that offer, he and his wife Jennifer went to dinner, discussed and prayed over the opportunity to come to Carson-Newman. And on the way home, they saw a church sign that said, "Doors of opportunity do not open by themselves." 20 years later, we're glad they walked through that door. Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of this year's R.R. Turner Award, Mr. Ondus Webster. I would like to ask our provost, Dr. Jeremy Buckner, to please step forward.
I
One of the privileges of making closing remarks is you get to tell funny stories. So now I want to tell a story about Ondas. Years ago, I was the chair of the music department. We were getting a new roof on the building. And I like to go to places where I can't really get involved, and I didn't have a key to that door, and so I wanted to get up on the roof because I thought, who doesn't want to get up on the roof? It'd be fun. So I was asking Ondas about it, and Ondas looks at me and he goes, "Buddy, I can barely fit through that door." So I took it as a subtle suggestion. Maybe I don't want to go up on the roof. That's the kind of man Ondas is. Well, in closing remarks, it's incumbent on the person to try to distill what this is all about and how we are grateful for our alums who have gone off and had such distinguished careers and lives, and we've only gotten just a glimpse of what those lives look like. We didn't even get into the lives of their families, and we don't often talk about maybe the dreams that were unrealized. And so students, when I give my closing remarks, I want you to listen carefully. It sometimes can be daunting to hear the successes of the people before you and think, man, they must have known from the moment they crossed the stage at Carson-Newman what they wanted to do with their life, how they wanted to be involved, how God was calling them to certain things. I'm nearly 50 years old, and sometimes I think, man, I need to get my life together and get on the ball. It's impressive. It is impressive indeed. But why do we do it? Well, certainly we want to celebrate with our distinguished guests. They have achieved great. They have gone out from these doors and they have achieved much. So celebration is a part of it. Also remembrance. If you read through the Old Testament, you will see that God often sets up festivals and markers and times when he tells his people, hey, remember this time. Remember this moment when. This is one of those moments. Another reason we do this is so that we're setting up a marker of remembrance. Why? Well, let me draw your attention back to our university hymn that we sang at the very beginning. And if you open your program and you look at the words, that third stanza, run with faith and live with honor, bearing witness in his call. As disciples, build the future until Christ is Lord of all. Why Christian higher education? Why do we invite these guests to come back and celebrate with them? Because Christian higher education suggests that we serve a God who loves this world, and he's given us people like our guests to go out and to build a future that it's filled with promise and hope and laughter and joy. That what Jesus Christ did 2,000 years ago with his death and resurrection not only brought about salvation and restoration and redemption, but the first fruits of resurrection suggest that his kingdom is coming into this world, and it comes in through the people like our honored guests, but it can also come in through people like you, students who have yet to cross the threshold of graduation. And so that's what I think about these closing remarks. Here before us are those who've gone before us, and I invite every single student here to take time to get to know these folks, maybe find the folks that are in your discipline or your field and ask them, because I guarantee you with a twinkle in their eyes, they will tell you they had no idea when they walked across the stage all those years ago that they would be here at this moment, looking back on a lifetime. But what they probably will tell you is that they were faithful in the moment, in the work that was given to them, and they leaned into that work, and suddenly they saw a life unfold before them where they had purpose and meaning, creativity and joy and abundance. It is our hearts are full to celebrate with our distinguished guests that are here today and all the folks who've come out to celebrate. Students, I hope you don't just walk away from this moment going, well, I got my CLW. Let this be a moment of remembrance for you that when you go out into the world, that God is calling you to build a future with your gifts and your talents. At this time, I ask you to stand as we invite Jeff Helveston to come and lead us in our alma mater.